Hello guys, welcome to Hatchsput Economics, Hatchsput, and it's your girl Connie. If you haven't done so already guys, please be sure to like and subscribe. Right now, take some time to hit that like and subscribe button and be sure to hit that little bell for notifications. So guys, this is like Christmas time for me. Happy holidays, but Christmas for me today. I love it when I see an article from someone and it validates me. It makes me feel so good because I'm all about the facts. So I know if you watch a couple of my extreme feminism videos, I talk about feminists and how I believe that feminism doesn't really help non-minority women. So if you are a minority, especially African American, it doesn't really help us. We've been stagnant. It's actually like we have separate women's rights. We have women's rights for minorities and women's rights for non-minorities. So I found this article today in the Huffington Post. Okay, and it's by Sarah Rayo. She's a contributor, and she's a social justice activist and the co-founder of This Together Media. And the title of this, guys, I'm sure you can see it. I'm a brown woman who's breaking up with the Democratic Party. So before I even go into it, guys, I have been talking about the fact that I see feminism not helping African American women. And the reason I say that is on every single platform, whether it's domestic abuse, whether it is verbal abuse, whether it is abductions, homicides, rape, all the metrics of violence, Black women are disproportionately affected. That is the facts. If you want to see that, you can watch my other videos where I actually read from the Census Bureau. I actually read from law journals. I believe in the facts. And before I get into this video, I just want to say one thing. I want to be a different channel. Sometimes I'll have the tea, sometimes I won't. But I truly, truly want to make sure that whenever I talk, whenever I mention something, I like to use my logic and reasoning based off of actual facts. So I do a lot of reading and reporting to make sure my stuff is accurate. So I think the internet is a great tool, but there's way too many people who are using it just to pump their opinion, but dressing it up as fact. I get a lot of reviews and comments, and I don't even publish them. So I don't even care. It has to be pertaining to the video. It has to be factual because I'm all about the facts. There's millions of YouTube channels with commentaries. This is not going to be one of them. If you don't like it, you can click to the millions of other channels. So that's all I'm going to say. So let's get into this. All right. I'm a brown woman who's breaking up with the Democratic Party. So I'm going to read and review as we go. So let me start with the beginning. She says, "Dear Democratic Party, you are the love of my life. I fell in love early and hard." Sounds like a hot guy. I have been the kind of party loyalist, the kind of sappy, soapboxy, cliche devotee that makes Fox News moonwalk with glee. The first vote I ever cast at 18 was for Bill Clinton. The last vote I cast was for his wife, Hillary. My adoration for Hillary bordered on mania. In college, I named my fiscus plant after her. 20 years later, I canvassed, held fundraisers, dragged my 8-year-old daughter door to door, proudly wore HRC's face on t-shirts, and housed campaign volunteers in my home. I loved you so much that I cried each time I voted. This girl, she's legit. Think about the women who died fighting for my right to vote. Did it every time. I cried when I voted for Bill, for Barack Obama. I wept when I voted for Hillary. You've been that kind of mad love to me. So she's saying this to you guys because she wants to show how passionate she is, how concrete she was, and basically how legit she was as a Democrat. So she's legitimizing her stance as a Democrat. But look what it says here. And now I want to break up. I realize now that the love has been one-sided, unrequited. You never recognized me as a brown woman. You've taken my love, my money, my tokenism, with nary anything in return. You married a white woman and hooked up with me on the side. Black Lives Matter is a second or third thought. Where's your outrage over the national epidemic of police brutality against black people? You continue to call angry white men who commit mass murder lone wolves. But if someone who looks like me screams Allah and fires a gun, it's terrorism. And you wonder why angry white men are gunning down innocent brown men at bars, in their yards, on the street. For all you talk about dreamers, there's been little action. You don't seem to give a crap about kids of color who will be kicked out of this country, the only country they know. What if all those dreamers were white? I suspect there'd be a very different outcome. You spend a lot of time and energy wooing white voters while giving short shrift to voters of color and assuming we'll always show up for you. To be fair, there's no reason for you to assume otherwise. We always show up for you. Take example, the special election in Alabama on Tuesday. Had black people not shown up, an accused child molester would be our newest senator. What will Doug Jones do for the black votes who put him in Senate? If history is any indication, very little. So I'm not going to continue without commenting. So this is what I have been saying for the longest time. And this is why women of color, the only way you get an impact, I don't care if you're a Democrat and I don't care if you're Republican, you have to make an economic impact. You have to somehow be able to be some type of weight to their funding, some type of weight to their political campaign. It's sad. Money talks and beep, beep walks, okay? And if we don't get our economics together, if we don't really get serious and find the fastest ways to economic empowerment, economic, freedom, financial freedom, whatever it may be, we're going to be stuck. Marching and protesting has got us this far. Now it's about money. It's about who we can support financially as candidates. And we can't do that if we can't support ourselves. We can't do that if we don't know how to make wealth. We can't do that if we're not in the stock market, if we're not investing, if we don't know what a mutual bond is, if we're not owning real estate, and most of all, if we're not getting married. So it all starts from economics. That is the power. That's the driving engine. That's why I made Assets Book. Because I saw that economics is the biggest equalizer and it's the fastest ticket to everything we want. You can march until you're blue in the face. But if you don't have that economic pull, if you don't have dollar signs to contribute to campaigns, no one's going to do anything for you. And then you're trapped between a quagmire. You're trapped between a party that's going to just do just enough to keep you voting and then an extremity that's going to push a pedophile. It's like, I'm damned if I do, and I'm really damned if I don't. So let me continue. All right? This is the rest of the letter, guys. I'm going to continue reading. This past year, I held and attended numerous fundraisers for your candidates. I donated money every time I was asked. I marched for women, for children, for reproductive rights, for science. I traveled across the country for the March for Women in Washington, D.C. It was there that I got first hint that you weren't into me. The giveaway? The sea of white women in pink hats with brown and black women dotting the waves like debris. I let it slide, but I kept my eyes open, my eyes and ears open. My fellow brown and black sisters started to notice too, and the chatter began. In whispers, hushes at first, then loud and clear. You are a party of white feminists. Bomba clot! Guys, I'm going to pause right there. When I said this, you would not believe the flame on, the human torches I got in my comments. That's why all my comments are under review. Like, trust me, I have to actually get people to help me review and publish my comments because the flashback I got from men, women, all types of people tell me I was imagining this. Tell me that I was a rich black woman complaining and oh my God, I'm imagining. No, this is the Huffington Post. This is a lady who has a picture with Hillary. Young, she's in love with Hillary. Look at this picture. This is Hillary Clinton way back in the day. And this woman has done everything for her. She has an organization. She's a social activist. And she's a hardcore Democrat. I checked the receipts. I looked her up. She's a registered Democrat from way back in the day. And for a registered Democrat who's a minority, For her to come out and say this, I'm so happy that it's not a black minority because they think we're always pulling the race card. It's a different minority. It is a brown minority. So let me get back to the story. I'm so hyped right now because I love when somebody validates me and somebody comes out and says it, because when I say it, it's like, oh, she's angry against white women. No, I'm not. I'm just talking the facts. It's the facts. So let me finish, okay? Woo, woo, woo. Okay, my fellow brown and black sisters started to notice too. And the chatter began, in whispered hushes at first, then loud and clear. You are a party of white feminists. Of white feminism, the kind of feminism that focuses on the struggles of white women. Let me highlight that. Let me highlight that. The kind of feminism that focuses on the struggles of white women. This is like almost like amazing for me. It was the first time I heard the term, most likely because self-awareness is hard. And I was a brown woman trapped in a white feminist world. But then I woke up and I saw you with clear eyes for the first time. For every Kamala Harris and Pramila Jayapal sticking their brown and black necks out for me, there were dozens of white female Democrats who want me to shut my trap. Your advocacy for reproductive rights zeroes in on wealthy white women. Women of color and other marginalized women get sidelined. The gender pay gap is worse for black and Latina women than it is for white women. Women of color make up 64% of women in U.S. jails. Why isn't the Democratic Party talking about this and trying to fix it? So I just want to give a commentary. All right. The reason why they don't fix it is because our vote is not something that they think they can lose. And the other extreme part is a party that's going to put you even further behind than where we are already. So I think there's a massive gap for people like her, for people like me, for other women of color to come together and take that empty space, and speak on that platform. If you go to the Republican platform, it's going to take you 100 years because they're not even acknowledging these problems. Like she could talk about this within a Democratic or liberal realm, but she can't talk about this in a conservative realm. They're still debating if racism is real. In the Republican Party, racism is almost akin to unicorns, leprechauns, Godzilla, you know, ghost, things that are not real to them. They don't think it's real. Obama was elected, so it's not real. Racism is over, really. And that's why this country is still fighting for Confederate flags and Confederate statues. There is no problem with race, and that's why a Caucasian woman was murdered in Charlotte by a neo-Nazi. So this is the thing. You have a president who said both sides when there was terrorism on one and anti-terrorist people on the other. So you have to understand what is happening. Let me continue. All right. My own liberal white congressman in Colorado has given me a hint as to why. As a congressman town hall in February, Niti Pawar, the brown female founder of the South Asian Bar Association of Colorado, was one of the only people of color in a room of nearly 1,000. She asked about immigration and DACA protections. The congresswoman scoffed. When Pawar pressed on, she told him to remain silent or she'd be asked to leave. During a follow-up, staffers told Pawar that civil rights weren't the representative's issue. Brown and black people don't have the luxury of sidelining civil rights. It's life and death for us. And it didn't stop there. I was organizing a fundraiser for a U.S. Senator earlier this month and had planned to use the opportunity to highlight women of color by having black women introduce him. The congressman's staff caught wind of the event and asked if she could introduce the senator. I explained my position, but invited her to come as a guest. No response. When pressed on her stance on racial inclusion, her staff didn't even respond to me directly, but tatted on to me, the white women co-hosting the event. I know there were some good ones among you, but for every Kamala Harris, Maxine Waters, and Pramila Jayapal sticking their brown and black necks out for me, there are dozens of white female Democrats who want me to shut my trap and say please and thank you. I should be grateful for scraps while white women enjoy a proper marriage with you. I'm done with all that. And if you don't want to lose more women like me, there are a few basic things you can do. Pay attention to the reproductive health of women and color and other marginalized women. Do something, do anything to protect dreamers. Or if you're really feeling bold, move forward on some form of reparations for Black people. Finally, mentor young people of color to run for office. Campaign for brown and Black folks. Raise money for them. Show up for them. I come running back to you with open arms if you did even a few of these things. In the meantime, I'll be on the sidelines, waiting, watching, hoping, praying. You broke my heart. So, guys, before I go, okay, this is what I was talking about. And I am so happy and I am so proud that this young lady who's been a die-hard, okay, and not even I'm a Hillary Clinton fan, but she's a die-hard Clinton fan, okay? Her name is Ciara Ryle. In her college days. Look how young Hillary is. If you guys can see that, I hope you can. Look how young. So for someone to break up the Democratic Party and sit on the sidelines, that means, guys, we have to rise. And the way you do that is through economics. The way you do that is through finance. The way you do that is getting your house in order. It's not putting yourself in debt. It's putting yourself in financial freedom. And that's why I made this channel. It's talking about politics from youth. It's talking about running for office from youth. It's talking about how to do fundraisers and organizations and how to build stable communities. Black women, do you hear me? Everything else does not matter. You can pick up a sign, you can protest, or you can just hear shit, ignore it, and go blah, blah, blah. All that matters is the people that are affected. That's all that matters. Not the opinions of people who don't think you're affected. Not the opinions of people who want you to be. It doesn't matter. This is a serious matter. We have to concentrate. We have to focus. Things are getting serious. Every day, every minute, the gap between non-minority women and minority women is growing in every way, in social, in health, in finance, in violence. It's growing, and it's up to us. It's up to us to take full accountability for it. If you don't like what's happening in the Democratic Party, you have to rise up and make a change. Not don't vote, because that's not going to help, and not running to a party who doesn't even understand diversity. If you think diversity is bad in the Democratic Party, try a conservative party and see what happens. You don't even exist. You don't even exist. They don't even acknowledge the problems. And the problem is we're not showing up. We're not taking accountability. Like I said, I'll say this so many times, do so many videos. You're always going to have challenges. You're always going to have racism, discrimination, and sexism. You can't control other people. All you can control is yourself, your community, your sisters, your family. And that's what you have to really focus on to make a change. That's what you really have to zoom in on to make a change. And that's what you have to bring your issues to the forefront. You have to raise awareness and talk about it and network and truly stop the bickering. Truly form a tight network, even if it's small, of like-minded people who are all on board, who are all on the same ship, who are all going to agree and push an agenda to uplift and help. That's all that matters. I do this because I care. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what this person says and that person. It matters for us. We're affected. It's our experience, and we truly have to work hard and concentrate for a better future. If you go to college and you graduate and there's no networking for you, and there's a false sense of diversity and inclusion, and you become an executive only to get battened down and beaten down because nobody's keeping for you in that boardroom, that's all that matters. And I want us to stop being distracted. I want us to stop being so triggered. I want us to stop putting time and energy into anything that won't make an impact in the lives of us women, in the lives of us Black women, in the lives of us Black African American women. It's time for us to concentrate our energy and our efforts to get things done. This was Hatsput Economics. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe.